We continue the conversation talking all things money matters, especially when it comes to debt, making sure that we don't find ourselves in those situations. And if we do find ourselves there, how do we navigate our way out into that particular position? And joining me this morning to give us more insight on that is financial advisor Sheila-Ann Robey. Sheila, we spoke a little bit earlier about, how we can look out for those red flags that indicate I'm in trouble, and also some of the trends that you've seen in terms of how people respond when they realize in trouble, that shame feeling that we experience. Say I am in that situation, I'm realizing that my finances are not going well. When it comes to borrowing money to try correct a school account that I need to pay, are financial service providers the place to go, or do I go to a loan shark? What's the pros and cons? Because I think a lot of people are just like, but this is going to be quicker. I get the money today. Even though a FSP might take longer to give me the money, but it might be safer.
Remember, with an FSP, there are checks and balances that are in place in terms of the National Credit Act. Whereas your unsecured loans and loan sharks and informal loan operators don't have those checks and balances in place. So the thing is, you're opening yourself up to a lot more risk. And the thing is, you're also opening yourself up to a far higher interest rate, which creates a snowball effect in terms of lending credit. So then you're in a situation where you're borrowing from Peter to pay back Paul, and so on and so forth. So in that situation, as far as possible, I would advise people to avoid credit in all instances.
It's funny that you mentioned, borrow from Peter to pay back Paul. There's conversations that pop up, and I'd love to hear what you would say, where someone is hearing about getting one loan to pay off all the smaller debts, and then eventually you're paying one person back. Is that something that you would then say, rather come up with a plan for those smaller ones, or is this something that is advisable, where you've got one place that you're paying with one interest rate that is staying the same? Is that something that is advised?
There is a difference between, going into a sequestration situation or doing debt consolidation or going under debt review. So those are three different things. And it's best to obviously get the advice of an expert if you are considering something like this. Debt consolidation, obviously, it's one FSP that you would pay back and settling all different types of loans. The difference in that respect is obviously you need to be conscious of the interest rate that you're exposing yourself to. Obviously, the higher the interest rate, the longer the terms, the more it's going to put a stress on your household budget anyway.
We're talking a lot of hypothetical. Should someone find themselves there? For someone who's watching right now, finding themselves suffocated by their finances, it's overwhelming to even try to address it. What would you say are the first three things they should do right now?
Okay. Stop, take a breath, and reach out. Okay. Whether that be obviously a financial advisor, an expert financial advisor, someone that you can trust, that is the best way to do it. If you're ill, you go and see a professional, you go and see a doctor. If your finances are ill, reach out, seek out the help of a financial advisor. They will create the accountability that you need to get you out of that place. They will keep you from going into panic. Remember, you are in your personal life with your finances as they are. It's an emotional experience. A financial advisor takes that stress away from you and provides you with the tools necessary so that you can navigate through your credit situation.
For someone then who says, because I think a lot of times, a lot of us yearn to go to a financial advisor to get our finances in order. Is this something that, or let me rather say, are there vehicles that I can go to a financial advisor that fits into my financial bracket? A lot of people might not be going to a financial advisor because they think it's something that's ultimately very expensive. So why get someone who's going to cost me when I'm trying to sort out my finances? Are there different options that are affordable to different people?
Absolutely. And, in the same way that you choose which grocery store you go to, that is, the same way that you choose a financial advisor. It must fit within your budget. You must have a relationship with them. You must feel comforted and trusted that they are ethical, that they will have your best interest at heart. So in the same way that you would choose a romantic relationship, is the same way that you would choose a financial advisor. It's an important role that they will play in your life, and they will become an integral part of your financial well-being.
Yeah. While I have you here as my financial advisor now, one of the things that we find is a conversation that's popping up several times is the use of a credit card. Some people say it helps you to be able to grow your credit score. Is it safe for me to have a credit card as a downfall, or sort of like a safety net that I have in cases and times where I find myself in financial crisis and I need to just be able to tap into that versus going for a loan additional over and above what I've already got established?
I have a lot of different views in terms of different credit facilities, and it's something that I would discuss with clients. I think a credit card essentially is something ideally you should be avoiding all credit forever and ever, amen. But in this day and age, it's sometimes not really necessary. A lot of our online purchasing is done through a credit card.
Yeah.
In terms of an emergency fund, I would prefer that be held in a liquid account for a client where they have the cash available. Let's say, for instance, I mean, what emergency is going to cost more than, 5,000 Rand, 10,000 Rand? If you are racking up hundreds of thousands of rands on a credit card, are you using emergency funding as a justification for you to have a credit facility? Or, if you use a credit card in a responsible way with your accountability partner being your financial advisor, it is something that you can use to gain a credit score. Do you need a credit card to get a credit score? No, by all means, it's not necessary. If you've got a cell phone account or a store account, these things all add up to your overall credit score. It's not necessarily just credit that formulates your credit score. It's also what type of payer you are with financial services providers. So there are many things that go into, whether or not you should have a credit card. And each individual client is different and needs different advice.
Yeah, Sheila-Ann, thank you so much for your time this morning. And I think more than anything, you're really highlighting to us that the more we open up and have this conversation, frankly, with a financial advisor and look at our finances, the quicker we are able to find ourselves out of that place. So thank you so much for inviting us.
You are
today.
most welcome. Thank you.
Man, this is one of those conversations that we could talk consistently and constantly have this conversation. So thank you so much for joining us this morning, financial advisor Sheila-Ann Robey, for giving us more insight on all things when it comes to debt reduction as we find ourselves with the looming recession.